Good, good. You're here for a revocation hearing today. My name is Pearl Wise, and I'm acting as chair today. The way this process goes, I'm going to read the allegations and give you, well, the allegation, give you an opportunity to plead guilty or not guilty with or without a statement. And then we'll take testimony, and it will begin with Mr. Marabella for his testimony. Now, there's a questionnaire, parole revocation questionnaire. Do you have that document in front of you that was signed November the 8th of 21? Yes, do you have that? That's it? I can't see it from here, but it's a parole questionnaire. And all those questions, those answers are correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The allegation reads as follows. Condition number 4, in that on October the 9th of 2021, you were arrested by the Orleans Parish Department and charged with battery upon a dating partner. The charges were refused on October the 19th of 2021. How do you plead?
Not guilty with a statement.
All right, thank you. Mr. Marabella.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Mr. Williams, my name is Tony Marabella. I'm going to be asking you a few questions today, okay?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Williams, how old are you, sir?
I'm 69.
Okay. And you've been incarcerated now since October, a little over a month, maybe, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You've pled not guilty with a statement. Why don't you go ahead and tell me in your own words what happened on that particular day?
Well, I've been having a misfortune with Ms. Brown for the longest. I had already approached this to my OP, my parole officer, about that 219, that we had difficulties. I also talked to the Kenner police about the situation that me and her had difficulties. She kept on coming around. But I always, was a person that kept my parole officer on top of anything that I do out there, all right? And she just wouldn't let me know. She just kept coming to my life. But I want the board to know this, that it was a misfortune with me and Mr. Brown, and that we would never have a relationship again anymore. I'll stay away from Mrs. Brown as far as I could.
Okay, I understand the background. What happened on this particular day?
I was at my sister had passed away.
All right.
That was September the 23rd. September the 24th, we had a family gathering. Around there. Mrs. Brown came around there with chicken and rice. She wasn't even supposed to come around there because we wasn't even messing with each other at the time. Okay, she come around there with care. I was getting.
Let me stop you for a second. My file suggests or mentions the fact that y'all were together approximately 3 years ago. Is that correct?
No, it's not correct.
Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about your relationship with her, when it started, if any, and when it ended.
Okay. We started. I got out of prison in October the 2nd, 2017.
Okay.
I met her December the 9th, 2017.
You didn't know her before that?
No, sir.
All right, go ahead, continue.
And I met her by my sister's house. That's where we started our relationship at, okay? And it was 219, she came by my house and gave me a problem over there. Like, she wanted me to pay call notes and all that for, and we had words. And I put her out. She called the police. And police asked her, did she want to put charges? She said no. She didn't want to put no charges. And that was it. I didn't mess with her no more until she came around there to the gathering of my sister's funeral.
Now, I note in your file and in your record, there was a previous incident, and that was back in February of 2020. Is that what you're talking about?
February of 2020. Something it ought to be that, something like that.
Okay, that there was there was an allegation, but nothing happened on it. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
All right, okay, continue.
And that was it until she came to my family house.
Okay, let's talk about what happened on that particular day. Y'all were having a reception or a celebration of your sister's life
right at her
And she
at my
came
sister's house.
over. What happened between the two of you?
She came over and she was telling me that she was gonna never let me go. And she wanted to come and keep him in my life. And I told her I didn't want to mess with her. She kept crying about the situation. I was trying to get in the car and leave from over there. She grabbed my shirts and all that. I pushed and got in the car and left. I didn't even know that I was charged with nothing until I went to pay my what you call that when you register, when you register stay out there. I went to pay that when Jefferson Parish told me that I had a warning.
Well, let me ask you this. The police police wrote in their report that they noticed swelling on her face. How did that happen?
I don't know. I swear I don't know. I have nothing to do with that.
Let me ask you a question, and I want an honest answer because I'm tending to want to give you some support and some help, but I need to have some honest answers, okay?
That's all.
Because I'm not sure where I'm going to go if it's a he said, she said, all right?
Yes.
Okay. Were you drinking at all that day?
I can't drink. I got kidney disease. No, sir. I got kidney disease. I got stage 3 kidney disease. I can't drink.
How long have you been treated for your kidneys?
About almost 2 years.
Tell me what you were doing while on supervision. Did you ever get any substance abuse evaluation or ever go to any AA meetings or anything like that?
I got a program that I go to.
What is the program you go to?
Program with Miss Jones. She give me I got to go talk to young youth, male youth. By me being in prison just about 50 years. And I always said when I was in prison that anything that I can do, I believe I could go out there and reach the youngsters.
So you're talking about community service work. You go out and you talk to young children. How often do you do that?
We do that either twice a week. Whenever she called us and tell us she got some kind of thing going on or she want us to go do this, that's when we go.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever had a drinking or drug problem?
No, indeed. I got locked up when I was 15 years old. I don't even know. I ain't never did none of that before.
When you got out of prison, did you get a substance abuse evaluation? Did you have to go to any kind of AA meetings or anything like that?
No, indeed. I did all that in prison. No, sir.
What sort of things did you take in prison that had to do with substance abuse?
I did AA, I did substance abuse, I did anger management, I did my sex courses, I did just about everything up in penitentiary. The record will reflect that.
Were you working?
Yes, sir.
What kind of work do you do?
About when out in the street?
Yeah.
No, I got disabled.
Okay, what's your disability? Your kidneys?
My kidneys and I catch seizures. Then I got a disc in my back and all that. You know.
Who do you live with?
I live with my nephew. Okay. He's 63 years old.
And what sort of things do you do during the day?
Oh, do around there messing with the gardens and doing all kinds of little things, you know, trying to get my mind together. Really, but I'm working on a book of my life with Miss Jones.
Miss Jones is who now?
Tuella Jones. That's the one over the social group, some kind of group she got where I go speak at. She's supposed to help me write this book.
And how often do you make those talks?
I didn't hear you. Come again.
How often do you make the talks to the children and other people to help them?
Well, whenever she called, you know, like she might call me and say, she we got to go here, we got to go to these schools, we got to go to this park, we got to go here to go talk to these kids. So whenever she called, I'm available.
Right. Mr. Williams, if I were to decide not to revoke your parole, but I wanted to make sure that you weren't drinking, because that's an allegation that this lady has made against you, would you be willing to take a substance abuse evaluation and make sure that you're doing everything you're supposed to do?
Yes, sir.
Additionally, you're charged with a domestic battery. I mean, I'm not so sure you and she really had a relationship, but there's some evidence that maybe she had some bruising on her. Would you be willing to do an evaluation to determine whether you've got any sort of anger tendencies or anything like that?
Yes, sir.
I assume that Ms. McDonough could probably assist you in getting that done.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I haven't made up my mind yet. I want to listen to everybody else to see if
Yes.
anybody else has any questions. And I want to listen to what your lawyer and what Ms. McDonough has to say before I finally decide, okay?
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you talking with me.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
It looks like we have no other questions. Mr. Reeser, as speakers.
We had Mr. Roche.
Excuse me, Mr. Roche, I didn't see that. Sorry.
That's okay, Ms. Wise. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Williams, good morning.
Good morning.
Ms. Marabella did a good job, but I still need to know exactly why Ms. Brown was there. And when she was not invited, why didn't the family dismiss her and tell her this was a family gathering? Our sister had just died, and we would appreciate it if you leave.
Now, it just wasn't a family gathering. Everybody was coming around here. Everybody was coming around. It just wasn't a family gathering.
Okay. So basically, everybody was stopping by, giving their
Yes.
condolences, and
Yes, sir.
sharing some good thoughts about your sister.
Yes, sir. That's how it was.
And Ms. Brown appeared and upset at everything.
Yes, sir.
How long was she at the gathering?
I couldn't see. Probably. I remember, all I could remember was she coming up there bringing some chicken and rice and talking to my sister and them. And she would come talk to me. And I didn't want to talk. I already was upset anyhow about my sister stuff, you know.
Was there any apparent bruising, swelling of the facial area at the time you talked to her?
I didn't really look at her that much to see if anything was wrong with it, because she didn't interest me,
Thank you, sir.
All right, sir. I have one question. Now, for clarity, you said you didn't know about the warrant until you went and checked in. So what's the relationship between the date this incident happened and the date you were arrested?
The date it had happened, I think it was September the 24th.
Uh-huh.
And I was arrested October the 7th.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that's what I was thinking. It wasn't the same day. And
Right.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you. Mr. Reeser, I have no other questions from the panel.
We will hear from Mr. Ware Burns, from the Executive Director of Bar None.
Greetings, board. Ms. Pearl. My name is Tuari Burns Jones. I'm the Ms. Jones that he is referring to. Jones is my married name. I use my maiden name now. I serve as Executive Director of Bar None by Design, where we work with people who are incarcerated and formerly incarcerated. Mr. Williams serves as one of our ambassadors. He is charismatic, witty, smart, a leader, and student. He understands the importance of infusing his incarceration experience with being trained to serve those re-socialized into the world, working to obtain another chance. He often speaks on the significant impact we can have on our youth if our engagement is consistent, we are patient and caring. All the traits he possesses, only indicating that he still has unfinished work here in our Greater New Orleans community and the world. On behalf of Bar None by Design, it is our humble appeal to this board to grant Mr. Williams his freedom so that he may continue being a servant leader, beacon of hope, and guardian of change.
Thank you, ma'am.
We will now hear from Ms. Megan McDonald from the Client Services.
Good morning, board. My name is Megan. I'm the Alternatives to Incarceration social worker. And I have been working with Mr. Williams to ensure that he has the support he needs, or additional support he needs when he gets released. And I am willing and able to help him engage in substance use classes and anger management assessment. Both services actually work within our building, so it'll be easy access for him to engage in those services while he's meeting with me as well.
So when did you get involved with Mr. Williams?
About a week ago.
Okay, okay. And where's your facility located?
It's here in Tulane Towers in New Orleans.
It's where?
Tulane Towers in New Orleans, 2601 Tulane Avenue.
Okay. And do you all
Ms.
have?
McDonough, may I ask a question? Do you
Sure.
have, at your services, do you have a domestic violence program there?
TSAP does. TSAP is in our building on the 3rd floor. They're the total sentencing alternative program. They run both domestic violence programming and substance use classes.
If that is something we decided to do, would you be able to assist in making that happen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mrs. Maduga, what is the contact phone number for your organization?
My number or our organization?
If we were going to ask him to report to your agency, what should we put down?
Sure, that would be my cell phone. It's the office line is 504.
And
you
what
say
is the name of your services?
I'm with the Orleans Public Defenders.
Orleans Public Defender at 2601 Tulane Avenue.
Yeah, Suite 700.
Suite 700. And that was okay. Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Teresa?
That is all of our speakers. Mr. Elefante, would you like to present before or after his brief statement?
I would like to present after his statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Farrell.
Thank you. At this time, Mr. Williams, there's no further testimony except your attorneys. Is there anything you want to tell the board before we render a final decision?
Only thing I could tell the board is they take this under deep consideration. I promise the board, as well as my family, that I will never go around Miss Brown again.
Thank you. Sir?
Yes, thank you very much again for taking the time to hear from us this morning. My name is Nick with the Orleans Public Defender's Office, and I've had the honor of representing Mr. Williams over the past month. I just want to note to the board before I begin my statement that Miss Ida Williams, Mr. Williams' sister, is present in the room with Miss Tueri Burns. She wrote a letter and is here in support, and I wanted to make note of that. Mr. Williams' recently refused case in Orleans Parish does not represent the community member he has been since his release from Angola in 2017. The day of this allegation, as Mr. Williams noted, was the funeral of his late sister. Mr. Williams was incarcerated for the funerals of many friends and family members, and having only 4 years to get to know his sister, this event was extremely emotional for him. Mr. Williams has always been very forthcoming and truthful with me. He acknowledged that this relationship with the complainant is not one that is healthy to continue moving forward. He told me, and as he told the board, that he wishes not to see this person. He also indicated to me that he understands deeply the importance of avoiding circumstances that could lead to the police being involved. If released, he pledges to continue building relationships with family members and to be there for life events to come. I would just like to make note of the letter from Mr. Williams' sister, Miss Ida Williams, which notes that she was 12 when Mr. Williams went to prison and 62 when he was granted parole. She notes what a blessing the last 4 years have been getting to know her brother and how Mr. Williams has built numerous relationships with family members throughout the community. Ms. Williams also touches on Mr. Williams' health complications, which he also mentioned. He's diagnosed with stage 3 kidney failure, has a thyroid condition, and hypertension. There's also a letter from Ms. Tueri Burns, who we heard from today. Mr. Williams fully intends to continue to be involved with this organization and use his experience to meaningfully affect the lives of others in his community. In conclusion, we ask that Mr. Williams not be revoked today. Mr. Williams has learned a great amount from this mistake and is dedicated to continuing to improve as a human being and as a member of our community. The great support Mr. Williams has from friends and family, his continued involvement with Bar None, and the ongoing commitment of support that our office will provide will ensure that if the board allows Mr. Williams to be released, he will return to our community as a valuable member. As Ms. Burns stated in her letter, Mr. Williams' work on the outside is incomplete. We respectfully request members of the board that use your great discretion and allow him to come home.
Thank you.
Ms. Pearl,
Yes, sir.
I have a question for the counselor.
Thank you.
Is
Yes,
there circumstances or any legal way that we can put a protective order or a no contact order on Ms. Brown?
So my understanding would be, since the case is refused, the criminal court no longer has jurisdiction, so that would have to be a civil protective order. So if that's something that the board would require, I could look into it.
Now, I won't require it, but I think it's a good idea.
I understand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. There's no other questions. Is the panel ready to vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Marabella.
Mr. Williams, as I told you earlier, it's a he said, she said, and I was trying to get at the bottom of things. I have to say that in your interview, you came across very honestly, very forthright, straightforward. I'll accept your word for the fact that you've got a medical issue that probably prevents you from drinking. I think something perhaps a little more than what you admitted to today happened between you and this woman on that particular day. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I'll accept the fact that you say, you kind of can't get rid of her. And I'll accept that fact. It appears to me that the district attorney in very short order determined that this case is not something they wish to pursue. I realize that the victim in this case wrote a letter saying she didn't want you prosecuted. She alleged that you had been drinking. She's not here, so I can't evaluate her testimony. So I can only go on basically what I have here today. Having said all of those things, you've indicated to me that you've been doing well since you've gotten out. You've got a lot out of prison in the 50 years that you were there in prison. My vote today is going to be do not revoke. However, I'm going to add some conditions to you. I want you to, with the assistance of Ms. McDonough, I want you to get a substance abuse evaluation, follow whatever treatment is recommended. I also want you to get an evaluation, but I want you to complete a 26-week DVOP program, domestic violence program. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it can only help you to go through that program in your future endeavors, at least to be able to stay away from this woman if she is the aggressor that keeps coming after you. So it will do nothing harmful to you and everything positive to you, and it'll help you in your discussions with children and other people that you talk to in your community service work. You've done yourself well today by answering our questions, in my opinion, honestly. So that would be my vote. Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Roche?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Williams, I too believe that you've been truthful today, and I pray that you're truthful about not drinking. If
Sure.
you're in third stage renal failure, that could be detrimental to your life. And you want to live as long as humanly possible. Hopefully, you are not consuming alcohol. But my vote is do not revoke for the same reasons and the same conditions as articulated by Mr. Marabella.
Mr. Williams, I was really impressed. The probation officer did document that you came in and voiced some concerns about what was going on. And that just adds to your truthfulness for me. At this time, I concur with my colleagues. My vote as well is to do not revoke, and with the added special conditions through the Orleans Parish Public Defender's Office. We're going to write this stuff in, this address, this name, and this phone number. When you get out of jail, it's incumbent upon you to reach out to them and start these programs, start the substance abuse and the however they are able to navigate both of those programs.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's going to greatly enhance your presentations to the community, the information you're going to learn in those classes. So it's going to be twofold. It's really going to be twofold. Our best wishes to you, sir, but your parole was not revoked today and you'll be continued on supervision.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Wow. So let me paint a picture for you. And thanks to Richard, I have this information. He is up here at a parole revocation hearing that, if revoked, he'd get back sent to prison to fulfill his life sentence. Now, what he's locked up for is a crime that he was convicted of committing, which was aggravated sexual assault. He went into a young mother's home late at the night with a knife and brutally assaulted her. He was initially given the death penalty. And that was, we have the court transcripts here. This all took place December 15th, 1969. The rehearing denied January 20th. This is a long time ago. He has served a long time in prison. And what makes this case particularly gut-wrenching is that he claims, even until this day, that he was innocent. Now, there's no additional information on this appeal that goes into any details. It's just an appeal. It seems that the death penalty, of course, is overturned. Remember, he was 15 years old. And it was probably Act 122 that gave him a chance at parole. That would be my guess. So if you've served over 25 years on your sentence, over 20 years on your sentence, and you're over 45 years old, you'll get a chance for parole. But there is this. So imagine if he is innocent, right? And he spent basically his life in Angola. And now he's out just a few years. And this crazy woman shows up at his sister's funeral and makes another false claim against him. And then you find yourself locked up in jail at the complete, I suppose, your future is left up to, at 71 years old, is left up to the parole board. What are they going to say? Are you going to go in now, spend the rest of your life in prison, or are you going to go have the opportunity to get out, all because of this crazy lady? And man, I mean, imagine if you're in that situation where you were actually innocent, spent half your life in prison, and now you might spend the next rest of your life in prison when you're dying of stage 3 liver cancer, or what, if it's not cancer, what it was, what did he mention? He's not dying, but suffering. And to be able to stay as calm and collective as he did, wow. I'm happy the parole board did what they did. The idea that he needs to get a drinking evaluation and a DV evaluation is kind of annoying. Again, it's I think just like money being pushed around, like who's going to pay for that? And it's not cheap. And it's like, really, you're really going to put him through this? Like either he did it or he didn't do it. It's like you're like saying, yeah, we don't know. So let's play it down the middle. And if she made it up, she should be prosecuted, in my opinion. This is no joke. And it would be, if she made it up, just think about that for a second. If she showed up there at his sister's funeral and selfishly and then made a claim that he had assaulted her, that's like, yeah, you better get a restraining order on her. There's something wrong with her, and very wrong with her. And if she didn't, and he actually did, push her or something, Mr. O'Shea said, did she have bruises? And his answer did seem honest to me. He's like, I have no idea. I wasn't looking at her. And it wasn't like, yeah, she had bruises. You're right. He didn't say that. He just, but here's again, this is something that they issued this 4 years ago, I think, before he got his parole. Let's see what they said happened. People are coming home in Louisiana because the unanimous law that was passed in 2020, but because it wasn't retroactive, a lot of people aren't coming home, unfortunately, unless they fall under the Orleans new district attorney. This is the 10-6 law that they're talking about, 10-6 lifers. I don't know if you're familiar with 10-6 lifers, but Louisiana we're signing deals like hotcakes. You serve 10 years and 6 months and then you get out. Don't worry about it. And people were just signing those deals. And then Louisiana, a few years later, just said, we changed our mind. Anyone who signed that deal, you're getting life without parole. Too bad. I know if that sounds too bizarre to be true, but that's true. 10-year lifers. They got 10 years and 6 months to be lied and forgotten, literally left for dead. They recently been released, some having served over 50 years. That's Louisiana for you. But what about Girton? He was during the time. He didn't cop a plea because he says, my daddy told me don't ever admit to something you didn't do. At 15, that's what he said. So I didn't. Even at 15 years old, he stood in his conviction. At 16 years old, when they offered him a plea, he said no because he didn't do it. What about his freedom? What about his story? Mr. Williams is an elderly 33-year-old on fixed income. He lives with family because he can't afford to live alone, yet he's not looking for a handout. Only one opportunity to share his story, set the record straight, clear his name, secure his freedom, and receive his just due. He's owed that much after 50 years. He can't get his parents back. He can't get his siblings back. I guess this is a book he's writing. The children he lost, he can't get all of that. Birthdays, he can't get those 50 years. And there isn't any amount of money that can account for the 50 years they took from him. They continue to take from him, having to be on parole for the rest of his life. However, he's owed reparations so he can have peace of mind. Not one time did he ask DA for anything, not even his freedom. Jason promised he had never reached out. We did after a year, and Jason said he couldn't do it. I don't know what they're saying there. Good luck getting a penny. They're not going to get anything. But what's interesting is that it looks like this was created 4 years ago because you see signatures from 2019 and you see signatures just from last month. So if they're only looking for 200 signatures, come on. Certainly, I realize you can't even see this. There's certainly a good chance that he is in it, that he is innocent. Why not? Why not? But to then having had to sit in a room and have another person accuse you of doing something you didn't do, I would be so terrified, PTSD, expecting that the board would just send me back to prison for life. I mean, all the emotions that someone must feel to be in that situation again. He handled it with so much grace. But thank you, Richard, for sharing the info. I'll put the links in the description. And with that, I'll let you go.